Our next presenter is Mr. Ashish Garg. He is from IIT Kanpur, and his topic is today vision-based robotic manipulator control system for an autonomous robot for agricultural activities. So over to you, Mr. Ashish.
Hi, I'm Ashish. I'm an MTech student. I'm working on agrotech project. So my work is to develop a vision-based robotic manipulator control for autonomous robotics for agriculture activities. So my study is to propose a optimized method uh, for finding a vision-based control system for a 5 degree of manipulator. So what we does, we are developing a method to find an efficient way to do a localized task like spraying pesticide, plucking fruits in a static, unstructured environment. So the agriculture industry is rapidly growing, but still there is a lack of efficient way to do these kind of localized tasks. So let us start with the task we have to do perform and how we are accomplishing those tasks. So first we'll discuss about the component of our robotic system. So we have a manipulator, a camera, a nozzle, and a rover. So our manipulator is a 5 degree of freedom autonomous manipulator. We are using a depth camera, and the nozzle and rover is being developed in our lab, SMSS lab only. So what if we deploy this system, as we deploy the system in agriculture field, it will scan and send and navigate the plant and so that it will reach to the plant, so that the workspace, the plant will come in the workspace of the manipulator. Then it will scan the plant and take camera feed, and that those camera feed will be fed to a CNN network, convolutional neural network, which is pre-trained. So what this convolutional network provide us, it will provide us the location of the infected area, or we can say targeted area where we have to do spraying or any kind of other manipulation. So how this network is trained? So for training this network, we had developed a data collection robot. This is a 6 degree of freedom manipulator system. It will move in the field and take images of the plants. It is operated in 3 different modes: teleoperated mode, autonomous mode, and semi-operated mode. In the image, left hand side image, you can see the test field. This is a tomato planted field, and in the right hand side you can see the sample images of plants. Okay, so now I'll discuss the process flow of position control. So once we'll get the location of infected area in image field, so its coordinate is suppose UP, we can find its depth with the help of depth camera, which we are using, of that UV coordinate or targeted area. With the help of this information of UV coordinate and camera calibration information, we can find the location of targeted object in camera coordinate frame. So once we'll get this location in camera coordinate frame, you can see in this illustration, suppose we get the location of targeted object in camera coordinate frame, we have to find its location in base coordinate frame. For that, we have to calculate 2 transformation metrics. One is from camera to end effector, and second is from end effector to base. After doing some mathematical operation, we can find the position of the targeted object in base frame. So once we get the target, the position, we'll give a offset. So we have to give a offset just to make sure that nozzle will be in the targeted object is in the region of the nozzle operation. So that's why we have to give the offset. And this after giving this offset, we will get the desired position of the end effector. So for after getting the desired position of end effector, we can directly apply the inverse kinematics code, and by that we'll get the joint angle and do the actuation. So that's how we can reach the targeted object. This is a basic idea of the process flow of position control by vision data. So this is the DH parameter of our robot. In the left hand side image, you can see the dimension of our robot. And in the right hand side image, you will see a schematic representation of robot, so that you can easily estimate how these parameters has been assigned. So this is a demonstration of position control. So in the left hand side video, you can see how the robot is following the ball. As we move the ball, robot will follow it. So we are using ball as a initially as a targeted object for the purpose of testing or demonstration. So in the right video, you can see the camera feed. So as we change the position of ball, it will make sure that ball will again and again reach to the desired point. So it will make sure the camera velocities are such that it will again and again reach to the desired point. Okay. For the further work, we are working on the velocity control. So we had discussed till now the position control, but our major purpose is to do velocity control for the velocity based vision control. So we can also say it as visual surveying. So there are two main method of visual surveying. One is image based visual surveying, and other is pose based visual surveying. In this slide, I'll give you a brief introduction about image based visual surveying. So initially, what visual surveying does, visual surveying provide us the velocity of camera such that we can track the targeted object. So suppose there is a camera frame and there is a ball in the camera frame. If we give velocity to the camera, some angular velocity and a linear velocity to the camera, so what will happen in the image frame? So suppose our ball is at u comma v coordinate in image frame. So it will start changing its coordinate. Now, by this information, we have to find the velocity of camera. So as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of visual surveying is to find the velocity of camera. So if we have a change in a rate of position of feature in image frame, how can we find velocity? So for that, we need a mapping matrix. So Li is image Jacobian, which is the mapping matrix, which map the velocity of camera with the rate of change of position of feature in image frame. So for calculating this Li, we need focus, focal length, and depth. And along with that, we need the position of the feature in image frame. So as we know, as we can see here, we have only two equation and 6 unknown. So we can't find the velocity by only single feature. So we use n different features. So this kind of system has been generated if we use n different features to find velocities. So we get 2n equations, and our image Jacobian matrix, the size of image Jacobian matrix become 2n cross 6. So we have to find the velocity of camera if we have velocity of rate of change of features in image frame. For that, we can directly use velocity of camera is equal to inverse of Jacobian matrix into velocity of feature, rate of change of features position in image frame. So how can we calculate the rate of change of image features in image frame? For that, we can directly use a proportional controller. So it will be directly proportional to the error in the current position of the feature in image frame and desired position of the feature in image frame. So by this equation, we can find the velocity required to track an object in image frame. So once we get this, we can directly use this in previous equation and find the velocity of camera. So this is our purpose. This is resolved like this. These are all the equations. This is brief introduction to image based visual survey. Now let me tell something about pose based visual surveying or position based visual surveying. The illustration in the left hand side, you can see everything in world coordinate frame, whereas the illustration in right hand side, how things are changing in the camera coordinate frame. So red is the camera frame, blue is the desired frame of targeted object in camera frame, and green is the current frame of targeted object in camera frame. So what we want that our targeted object our current frame will reach to the desired frame. So you can see the change in the world coordinate as well as camera coordinate. So this is the mathematical model. The third equation is similar to that we had concluded in image based visual surveying. So velocity of camera can be easily calculated by proportionality by creating a proportional controller between and a mapping matrix. So LP is the mapping matrix. The mapping matrix map the change in the rate of pose with the camera velocity, where in image-based visual surveying, it is mapping the rate of change of feature with the camera velocity. So this mapping matrix can be calculated by equation number 2 and equation number 1. So LP is that mapping matrix. First three row will map the velocities and linear velocity, and other three will map the angular velocity. So this is a symmetrical matrix, so we can directly find the inverse. So this reduces the computational expensiveness of this algorithm. Now let us see the difference between them. So we had seen all the equation in previous slide. So we'll directly come to the drawbacks of the methods. So in image-based visual surveying, the right-hand side, you can see the things at right-hand side. So in image-based visual surveying, the issue is that we did not find the optimal trajectory. And the process is computationally expensive because we have to again and again find pseudo inverse of the image Jacobi. Whereas in pose-based visual surveying, there are two issues. First is we'll lose the object from the camera field of view, and second is it is not robust to the camera calibration, because again and again we have to estimate the pose. So for that we need a proper camera calibration matrix. So what we propose, we want to reduce the tendency of object to get out of the camera frame in pose-based visual surveying. So we are modifying the pose-based visual surveying. So our technique, so we'll discuss, I'll discuss the technique directly from pose-based visual surveying. So you can see the equation number 2. The velocity, the change in pose is directly proportional to, it is equal to the mapping matrix into velocity of camera. This we had discussed before. So we can split this matrix into two different parts: velocity in xy direction, velocity in z direction, and angular velocity, as you can see in equation number 3. And we can apply the proportional controller between the taking error as the position of pose of current and desired pose. And by doing simple algebraic operation, we can find equation number 5. In equation number 5, VR is the velocity in z direction and angular velocity in xyz direction. But here the thing which is missing is velocity in xy direction. So how we'll calculate the velocity in x? We are calculating the velocity in xy direction. We are using the equation number 1. So the issue with pose-based visual surveying was that the targeted object will lose from the camera field of view. So we'll make sure by that the object will not lose the camera field of view. So how we are making this sure? So we are taking centroid of all the features and creating a proportional controller such that velocity in x direction and y direction is proportional to the error in the position of centroid in image frame. So you can see here. So it will again and again reach to the desired point, as you can see in the demonstration. Our goal is again and again reaches to the desired point. So that's how velocity in xy is defined. So this and this term 1 upon z is because if we move farther from the camera, the lesser effect will be there on in the image frame. So if we move at suppose very far distance, the distance will not change in the camera frame. So that's why we are using 1 upon z to compensate that thing. So by using this method, we will reduce 3 kind of problems. First, we will provide an optimized path, as we are using pose-based visual surveying. Second, computational expensiveness will not be there because we are using our metrics are symmetrical. And third, the tendency of losing the object from camera frame will reduce as we are using as we are using equation number 1. So that's what we are using. We are using in velocity control system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish, for your nice presentation. I will request if from audience, if you have any questions, you may raise. Okay, Ashish, I have one question. It's on slide number. Can you go to slide number 12?
5.
12.
Well.
So in the video, I can see that this green circle, is it in the second video? There's an orange ball, right? Orange ball and a green circle. The green circle is traced by your camera, right?
Yeah.
So it is quite not exactly at the center, like it's a little offset. So
Yeah, this is because actually we are using a color thresholding algorithm. So this is because the range is based on the the lighting, because of the lighting. So the range is for the brighter side of the ball. So that's why it is a little bit off.
Okay, I mean, when you will implement this algorithm in your actual robot for picking fruits, if you want to, if your robot is a little bit offset, then yeah, will it be able to grab properly?
Actually, our main purpose is to do spraying. So I think spraying the pesticide on the infected leaves. So I think our basically we have more tendency, we'll spray more in a more area, more than targeted area. So
Okay.
it will.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
And I would like to add one more point. For that actual purpose, we are using learning based algorithms. So we will be getting that bounding boxes for the infected area and for the fruit plucking. So this AI based algorithms, we are getting that coordinates.
Yeah.
And this one is just for testing purpose. That's why we use the color camera. In actual case scenario, we will be using that AI based algorithm
AI based.
to get the coordinates. So I think that will be more accurate.
Yeah, I have another question. It's on your slide number 13 that you said you have like the gain you have only used KP gain, like proportional gain only, right? So
Yeah.
didn't you like found any oscillations because of this?
Actually, we are working still in progress. We are not exactly implemented it. We are in a progress to, we are in a process to implement this. So with time, we'll do some modification to get better results. So in initial stages, we are using the traditional methods. So in traditional, they directly use the proportional controller. So we are adding things in the traditional method.
Okay, my practical experience is like if you use only like proportional gain, then there are some oscillations. So in future you can certainly look into it.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from audience? Okay, thank you, Ashish, for your nice presentation.